Welcome to the Growing Gorillas podcast. I'm Kisa Davison.
And I'm Travis Davison.
And this podcast is all about parenting. The ups, the downs.
The in-betweens.
We have absolutely no idea what we're doing.
But likely neither do you.
So kick back, relax, and enjoy.
Special thank you to the Cleared Hot podcast for use of the studio and Andy Stump for all of his invaluable information.
If you'd like to learn more about Cleared Hot, visit clearedhotpodcast.com.
Let's do this.
Drink LMNT. LMNT is our podcast sponsor today. It's a healthy alternative to sugary electrolyte drinks. Every grab-and-go stick pack replaces all the essential electrolytes that you need with no sugar, no coloring, no artificial ingredients, or any other junk. I drink LMNT every day, and so does Travis, to support...
Because it's delicious.
Well, I was going to say, I drink it to support my hydration. I would say my low-carb diet, my fast, my workouts, etc., but none of those things are true. I just drink it because it's good, and I need water in the morning. My favorite flavor is definitely the orange one, and the green one, and the pink one.
Yes, you're saying raspberry, orange, and lime.
Correct.
Which I don't disagree with you on. However, the watermelon is delicious.
And let's not forget the chili lime is good with tequila, as is the habanero mango, I think. The two spicy ones are really good with tequila. Not recommended in the morning, but still good with tequila.
Well, yeah, and it's kind of like, I guess, counterbalances.
Totally. It's a math equation. It works out somehow.
I don't think Rob Wolf necessarily is going to stand behind that.
I know, but he's not here, so...
That's true.
I'm the official on the subject. But listen, here's the cool part. As a member of our Growing Gorillas community, LMNT has a very, very, very cool offer for you. You can let them know that you are interested in trying out a sample pack. All you have to do is cover the cost of shipping, so you can get yours.
Which is what, like $5?
I don't know.
I think it's like $5. Anyways.
I just charge things on my credit card. I don't look at it.
Cheap.
So here's the URL. drinklmnt.com/growing-gorillas. Now remember, growing gorillas, you have to spell all the way out, and there's 2 G's right in the middle, so don't screw it up. drinklmnt.com/growing-gorillas.
And in the words of Stella Davison, hydrate or dihydrate.
I feel like LMNT should adopt that as their new
Well,
tagline.
they just did.
Okay.
This week's episode of the Growing Gorillas podcast is near and dear to my heart, as we had a chance to sit down with my own parents, Frank and Debbie Revard. Together, they raised 4 children and a whole host of grandchildren, with more yet to come. I hope you enjoy some of the tales and memories that they share. It was fun for me to hear their thoughts on parenting, and then to also get their perspective on a life that I was part of. Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Very much.
Let's just hurry up. This I can't believe you guys did this anyway to us. Your
Mom's
parents.
been wanting to be on this since the minute she found out.
She
about
I know.
it.
She
she
keeps
coulda
dropping
came-
these hints. You know, I have a lot of really important things that I could talk about parenting.
Well,
Yeah.
you need 2 mics.
No.
So you're just collateral damage because
I know.
My hair
I'm
sticking out?
I'm used to being collateral damage, so it's all good.
Mom was going to find a way on here one way or another.
I was.
That's well, you just described our 45 years of marriage. That's all good.
After Nana was on here, she dropped a subtle hint. I want to be on your podcast.
So subtle.
Oh, okay.
Whatever.
So you guys have watched like most of the episodes.
Yeah,
watched a few of them.
A good part of them.
So it'll save me having to introduce the
The
concept of the podcast because I'm
yeah.
getting kind of sick of.
Yeah.
I feel like anyone who's watching it has an understanding of what Kisa's vision was.
That we're experts in parenting and we're going to grant the world
all this
favor.
knowledge.
We're actually getting ready to start a marriage podcast as well. So we're going to explain to young couples on how to have a
That'll
healthy,
be good.
happy.
I think you should charge
Don't
for
want me
that.
on it.
Do this. There you go.
Yeah. No, the idea is that nobody really knows what they're doing when it comes to raising kids, but
That was a heavy sigh, Frank.
No, well, that should be chiseled in stone. We don't know what the hell we're doing. You just throwing into the water and you got to swim.
Well, I think sometimes like the most dangerous people are people who pretend to know things that they don't know.
Absolutely.
And people who have more confidence than brains.
Yep.
So the approach is actually more of we don't know what we're doing, but we have 4 kids. They turned out pretty good. So here's some mistakes. Here's some things that worked. And then cross your fingers, I guess.
Your mom and I were talking about this yesterday, and I kind of felt like she was starting to rehearse what she was going to be saying on the podcast.
Stop.
No, it's not a bad thing.
Okay.
I've been rehearsing the song I'm going to sing to you.
Oh, God.
my.
No, help me.
I'll leave with Travis.
Yeah, let's wait until I have to go, and then you can start the
But-
song.
Yesterday, you said that you made a much better grandparent than you did a parent.
Oh, yeah. I'm happy with the grandmother I am.
Oh, just like Nana. Speaking of grandparents, it seems like the older you are, the more likely it is your phone will ring.
And I told him to turn his ringer off.
I turned mine off.
It's that
Let me check mine.
person who wants to sell me the Medicare and the warranty for my truck. I can't miss that.
Anyway, let's get back to me.
That's why we're here.
Anyway, yes, I feel like I've learned what I did with my own 4 kids that I didn't want to repeat with my 12 grandchildren. So what I used to think, oh gosh, just let me get this baseboard washed, or let me put 2 more loads of laundry in, instead of maybe playing a board game with the kids. But with my grandkids, it would be nothing for us to be in our pajamas till 1 in the afternoon when I was in Montana with the 4 Davisons, and we'd play Monopoly and then I'd go, oh gosh, maybe we should get dressed.
Speaking of playing Monopoly and being a good grandmother,
I was hoping this story was going to come up at some point.
I vaguely remember a time that I think Keith and I were in Ireland or Mexico.
Whatever.
And when we returned home, we asked the kids, like, so how was it? And they're like, oh, we had a lot of fun. We played a Monopoly. And then I can't remember which Joe goes, yeah, but Grandma got on the table and she said, you guys are losers, and did like a little victory dance.
She literally jumped on the table.
I think it was a chair.
Well, you called my kids losers.
Because I wanted them to see what a winner looked like. And look at what winners those 4 are, right?
Sometimes.
Oh, well.
All because of you, honey, and Monopoly.
It was other games, too.
Okay.
Baseball.
That's right.
Yeah, that's true. We were just talking about this with Anna Marie on Sunday, that to this day, I tell parents everywhere, one of the best card games you can play with your kids for math skills, like grade school, middle school age kids for math skills, is
baseball.
I can't remember how to play it now.
I do. So I'll reteach you.
Okay.
It's fun.
So what is it about not being so concerned with keeping the house clean and the dishes done, and instead spending more time with the kids? What else is it about grandparenting that you think you got better than parenting?
Easy. It's an easy.
I'm not going to say that I didn't, after they went to bed, then do those chores, because I'm a little bit problematic in that area. But I've learned that I can wait until they've gone to bed. But what I've done is I spend quality time with them. It's like, it's nothing for our grandkids to call us or want to hang out or come over. And I don't know if that's the norm with especially teenagers and young adults that they still want to be with us, right, Frank? You've said that.
How awesome. How blessed we are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I hear you getting phone calls from your grandkids all day long.
yeah, I do.
I can tell based on his tone of voice who's calling.
Yeah, because sometimes it's his kids.
Yep.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
those are special calls. The ones from vendors and subs and stuff, those aren't special calls. But the kids, it lights me up pretty well.
His voice will go real gruff to, well, we need those trusses out there last week. Oh, hey, honey, how are you?
Guilty.
Hi, Papa misses you.
That's
We won't tell anybody, any
No,
of the
it's-
subs or vendors,
it's-
that you have a soft voice.
pretty obvious. Pretty obvious. With the kids especially.
Well, let's cut right to the chase because we brought you on here to find out, of your 4 kids, which one's your favorite?
That's nervous laughter from your mom.
Yeah, that's like impossible to answer.
I don't have favorites.
You can answer it after I leave.
Okay.
I don't have favorites, but I think it's okay as a parent to have different relationships with your different children. And it doesn't mean you love that one anymore, but it may be that you just click. And it's true with grandkids too. I mean, he's got relationships that I don't have with certain grandkids that I have
All of
with
them.
other ones.
That's
Oh, right.
It's a good thing that this family's so non-competitive. Can you imagine what a cutthroat experience it would be?
But we should have, obviously, we know their kids
Yeah.
and their grandkids. But they should still explain, like, okay, we have 4 kids,
Oh, right,
there's
right,
their
right.
ages, blah, 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 blah. Because nobody else knows.
Can you do that, Frank? Can you remember their ages?
absolutely not.
Okay.
I had in my wallet. You want me to pull my wallet with all
Okay.
their dates on?
So,
Birth dates?
my 4 kids are in the odd year this year. So this year they're 47, 45, 43, and 41. So we've got Emily, the youngest, then Autumn, then Ricky, and our oldest is Travis. And our grandchildren, come on, Frank, do
Yeah,
it for
right.
me. Come on.
I
Debbie.
think I could
Any-
do this.
Could you?
I think so.
Okay, go ahead and I'll correct you if you're wrong.
I could get 4 of them right.
Chandler's 25.
Correct.
Ted is 21.
Correct.
Izzy's 20.
Correct.
Stella and Ricky are 19. They're my kids. I know how old they are.
And Bailey will be 19.
And Bailey will be 19 in
August.
August 24th. And then is
Joe.
Joe, and he's 18. Franklin just turned 16. Sophie is 14.
Wrong.
15.
Eek. 15.
Okay, Sophie's 15. And then Georgia is 8. Why do you do 8 like this?
Because I can.
Georgia's 8. Simon is 6. And Vivian is 4.
She's not 4 yet.
In a couple weeks, right?
Yes.
That's amazing.
That's pretty good, huh?
That's great.
Yep.
It's because I'm the best auntie ever.
And we have 6 girls and 6 boys. So we didn't
And
have.
2 boys and 2 girls.
Uh-huh.
There you go.
It's
See,
amazing.
I like that.
Yep. Worked well. We planned it that way, by the way. Okay.
Well, I did.
I know. All right.
What else do you want to talk about?
This-
I still want to get back to that favorite.
Oh.
Well, no, let's talk a little bit about that, different relationships with different kids. When did you come to that conclusion? Did you try and do it
Well,
the same? Did you ever feel guilty because you felt like you were closer to one than another? Or
I think some children are easier than others. Travis, our firstborn, everybody that knows him knows that he is self-driven. You don't have to, we never had to say, hey, did you get that paper written? Hey, did you do your homework? No, because he was already doing it. And then we have Ricky. I love you, Ricky. And then we had Ricky. And the night before this huge project was done, Frank would say, "Hey, so how's it going on the project?" "Oh my God, I didn't start it yet." In fact, funny story. His high school graduation, we had all the family came in. We're all sitting there in the chairs, and Frank and I are like, nail biter. Please call his name. Please.
We had no idea he was going to graduate. He was right at that line.
It was
And
like,
we had out of town family.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
yeah,
Out
they
of state.
traveled,
Out
and
of state, yeah.
I'm like biting my nails. I'm going, please God, please call his name. And they called it, and it was a win. Yes, they called his name. And then Autumn. Okay, so our middle two.
You could explain the family dynamic too, because it's not.
Yeah,
It's not a
It's
conventional
It's
dynamic.
not conventional. Yeah.
Yeah, so I had Travis. He was 18 months old. I had just found out I'm pregnant with Ricky.
who we refer now to as Big Rick,
Big Rick, that's right.
because we have a little Ricky.
And my first husband was killed. His father's company on the job. That's how I moved from Southern Oregon. I wanted to be back with my mom and dad for that time. It was a rough time. And of course, Frank, who had dated my oldest sister in high school.
I was hoping that this was going to come up too. That's a shout out to Aunt Linda.
And he was partners in business with my second sister, who's older than me. Her husband, they were been best friends since 8th grade, I think.
Uncle Pete.
And they were had just started up a business. And so he was at my sister's a lot. And here I am growing daily, and around Frank a lot. And of course, he immediately fell in love with Travis. Oh, who wouldn't? And so he got pretty attached to Travis. And the day that Ricky was born, lo and behold, who shows up at the hospital? I'm thinking, this is strange. And here he comes, and his face was glued to the glass looking at Ricky. So I believe God had a plan in all of this. Frank immediately bonded with Travis and Ricky, and so many people don't even know that biologically he maybe isn't biologically their dad, but he is their dad in every sense of the word.
I get strange looks all the time, like in the gym or on the construction site, because every once in a while I'll say, it'll come up and I'll be like, oh yeah, my first dad was killed or whatever. And they'll look at me like, I just met your dad. I'm like, and then I have to explain it to them.
Exactly. Because even when Travis and Kisa decided to get married, I tell people this and I think they're like, are you kidding me? I said, no. Who do you think was his best man? Frank. So that kind of shows you the relationship they have. In fact, after the girls were born, I used to have to say to Frank, hey, it would be nice if you'd spend some time with your daughters. You do have 2 daughters. It would be nice if, so then he started doing like a date night. Once in a while, he would just take one of them to dinner or something, because it was nothing for the Trav and Ricky and Frank to have this whole what was that? Dad took you on the old blue pickup. Remember you went and you had P-Rock and, you named things P-Rock.
We went to see Haley's Comet back in.
That's what
I think Travis was
Mojave,
like 12 or
Mojave
13.
Desert.
Yeah.
it
I was younger than that.
Pretty young, but it was once every 100, 115
I
years.
don't know if that truck had safety belts because...
It didn't. No, it didn't.
Yeah.
Back then you didn't wear safety belts
No,
either.
this was a safety belt. That was a safety.
In fact, I brought you home from the hospital. It was like a plastic infant carrier, and we laid it on the seat, and we hoped that he was going to be okay till we got him home. But anyway, so I have a real deep relationship with Travis and I think because when Rick did die, I had never left him overnight with anyone, not even the grandparents or aunts there. And I mean, they were lucky if they got to babysit for a few hours. So when my parents came and my dad and my 3 sisters were there, I stayed for an extra week with my mom. And my dad took him home with my sisters. And I'll tell you, it was a dark time for me to be separated from this kid that we were like, you know, so close. And I've told Frank this on many occasions, and listen up, people. Listen, parents, don't do this. I would have ruined my sons, because after that, it was like, oh, you want another pop-up book? Okay. It was like, no, did not entertain my vocabulary at that time in my life. I never told them no. And then when we got married, no entered in.
The villain.
The villain.
You were never the villain, was he, Trav?
Wait till your dad gets home.
Yeah, I said that a lot. Don't say that.
That's what happened.
I know. I've learned.
I didn't necessarily want that role, but you're right. You can't have discipline in the house without discipline. You can't. It's impossible.
Because it's true what the Bible says, spare the rod and spoil the child. Even though we didn't use capital punishment, very seldom. Ricky got it. He didn't understand, no. But you will ruin a child. You'll cause them to grow up to not be a human being who has ever heard the word no or has had consequences for their actions. So
back to the part about where you would have ruined Rick and Travis.
Yeah.
You didn't tell him no?
No. No.
Because why didn't you tell him no? Because your pain was so deep and you wanted to keep him close? Or?
I thought they were perfect.
Okay, so delusion.
All the above, Keith. It was hard time in her life. She was adjusting with, for years. It takes, when you have a catastrophic event, you bury it, and then it comes up. Sooner or later, you have to deal with it. And you deal with that, and you deal with all these complexities of raising kids. We're young. We don't know what's going on. It's all new.
Because you were 21 when Rick was killed, and so
we were married 3 years.
And how old were you guys when you got married?
I was 26.
So 26,
so I must have been
family.
23.
Yeah. Well, I realized too that I was living a different life at that point in time. I was right out of the Navy.
Sex, drugs, rock and roll.
It's exactly right, and 100%. And so there was this transition period where
full circle.
It was, but it was. but Debbie, adding to that a little bit, when I was with my partner Pete, and we were building room additions and stuff, and that was all learning and brand new. And along comes Debbie, and then these two. First it was Travis, and then Ricky, and then it was a God planted seed, because they were hard to get out of my mind, and before that mind was populated by sex, drugs, and rock and roll. So but there was a transition, and in that transition period everything started changing. My whole world kind of changed rapidly, and Debbie said, I won't date anybody that isn't a Christian. So I said, well, okay.
I think you were shocked.
Well, no, I wasn't shocked. I would have shocked if it was any other way than that. Okay. But anyway, I for a lot of things happened and doors opened up, and I became a Christian. So I came down off the mountain, and that was really when the transition period was front and center, when it was obvious and focal, and primarily because I had a whole set of friends who did the same thing I did, right smack in the middle of it, and then it wasn't appealing. It was less and less appealing as every day went by, and then this thing over here was way more appealing. The two boys and Debbie. I wasn't in love with Debbie at first. I was in.
He was in love with Linda.
Yeah.
Hey, I want it known, put it on the record, he broke up with her.
Debbie. you need to edit that part out. But anyway,
Michael, don't
keep
edit
that part in.
well, you need to edit that crap out because it was 50 years ago and it was different than 50 over 50. Anyway, the bottom line is the transition period. All of a sudden, my old group of friends who were good people, most of them are dead or in jail, but they were good people at the time, and they were not as important, and they became less important every day. Mm-hmm. And this whole group here became more and more important. And it was a transition. It wasn't hard, but it wasn't easy. It was one of those things that this is a whole lifestyle change, and it happened rapidly. Then we got married and had 2 girls, and rocket ship.
Usually there's a like for us, like there's a process, right? Like you get married.
Yeah.
In our case, you get pregnant like the next day. But then you're pregnant for 9 months.
Right.
And then you have a baby, and the baby starts to grow up, and then you have more babies. But you went from no wife, no pregnancy to
2 kids.
2 kids.
And not knowing, that's what I'm saying. You don't know what the hell to do in some of those situations. And that trust your heart and trust your instincts, well, that's a bunch of crap most of the time. You got to, there's a lot more to trust than just that.
Where was it that you learned to bribe your boys with Green Army men so that they could spend a few minutes in the closet while you...
Hey, whatever works, man.
Where were we?
We were in San Diego.
Yeah.
For a little
I'm
weekend.
scarred from that because I still remember the city. I can almost remember the hotel room. Mostly I just remember the inside of the closet.
It was a big closet.
They put a dog bowl in there with water for
It was
my
a
brother.
walk-in closet.
That is so true.
Now you can see where my fear of abandonment comes from. It wasn't
Green Army men.
my father being killed or my mom, coping with that for years. It was being stuck in the closet
with your little brother and some Green Army men.
I apologize. We made mistakes. What can I say?
Sometimes you have to put yourself first.
That's right.
Yeah. So what
Thanks,
just occurred,
Keisha.
I've heard that story, right, for 24 years, that you fell in love with the boys, but it just now dawned on me that the minute you laid eyes on them and started to feel that relationship with them, you wanted to be a dad.
It was instant. It was an instant feeling that comes over you, and it doesn't happen to me very often, but it's real, and it's all encompassing, and that's what happened. I'd go out, and I was still drinking beer and doing crazy things, but that was in there, and that started taking the reins. That was started taking over. And I wanted to be a dad. I didn't know what that meant. I had phenomenal parents, but I was always the wild child. So, I was never home under their guidance, and so I was off doing my own thing. And so the instructions that they might have given me at the time weren't available, and so we just winged it. And it was the hardest part was the entire lifestyle change, because it happened so quickly. It was from one end to the other overnight, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me my whole life, period. 100% easy. That was the best thing.
And then you must have got pregnant with Autumn shortly after you got married too. Then
Honeymoon.
I explained to him
how it works.
Let me tell you where babies come from, Frank.
that it probably
didn't
would
need that
have been
explanation.
a good thing for me to get on birth control or something like, oh, you're not going to get pregnant.
Yeah,
See,
right.
I had the same idea when Keith and I got married. I'm like,
Takes a while. Come on.
Not when you're
Fertile myrtles.
That's right.
Yeah.
We are very blessed that way because
Yes.
we didn't have to wait for 6 years like some
Yeah.
couples do, or wonder if they're going to be able to have a child. We just had to go, yeah, I think I'll get pregnant.
Or just, walk in the same room.
Yep, that's it.
That's right.
Just
So-
the wind has to be blowing the right direction, and it's done. You know.
I was just talking to somebody about this the other day who commented about, 4 kids in 3.5 years. I said, well, there's a set of twins there. And I thought, actually, there's miscarriages in between all those pregnancies as well. So there's never.
Now, see, I never had a miscarriage, which is unusual.
No, but I wanted
Really.
6.
Yeah, well,
You
you
said
got
no.
4, so be
I
thankful.
know.
I wanted 6 too.
That's what.
Oh, no.
I love
no,
big
no.
families.
Yeah,
Well, you got a big family.
she said
We do.
I can't let her just say I wanted 6 too and then off the hook because I didn't schedule my own vasectomy.
Yeah, that's
No,
true.
I did schedule that.
In a moment of anger, you said.
Frustration. And did
Don't
you
ever
just hang
piss
up the
Keith-
phone on
Yeah,
me?
Don't ever piss
you
Keith
just-
off, man. It has bad consequences.
But she cut her nose off the spider
I
face.
know. And then we moved to Montana, and I begged him and begged him and begged him to get a reversal. And he said,
Oh, no.
No.
Can't touch perfection.
I said, fine, we'll get 2 dogs.
My grandkids are perfect, so you
They
can't
are.
mess with that.
No,
Absolutely.
they're awesome.
Yep.
They are awesome.
Anyway, and then we were I started a small construction company with my brother-in-law and friend, and we were, we were muscling through that, and all entrepreneurs can raise their hand and say it takes way too much time.
It's like having another child.
It is, and so when you're struggling with your own business and trying to make it work, and then, there's a lot of I don't know how to say that. There's a lot of mystery in our early lives. Thank God you're young; you can handle it, because all that mystery then unfolds, and it should be that way. It shouldn't be instant. I know everything. It should be discovering as you go and making a shitload of mistakes.
Right.
As you go. The mistakes is where you actually grow. It's not the victories. And so you make a whole bunch of those along the way with your professional life and with your personal life, and you try to arrange that relationship between the two. And I think that's where I did the worst job. I think I if I had one thing to do over, if I could do that and jump right to your last question, but I would spend a lot more time with my family and kids than I would the company we were trying to grow. But you can't take that back, so we become good grandparents.
That's
Spend a lot of time.
Sean and Carrie. We were talking to Sean and Carrie, and Sean made the point. He's like, I think it would be better to wait. I disagree,
Yeah.
by the way. I think the best time to have kids is when you're young,
Right.
personally.
Young and dumb.
I agree.
You don't
I-
know the mistakes,
I
the gravity
think-
of the mistakes you're making.
I think biologically we're built that way, and I don't have a problem when people get married young. Obviously, I got married at 19 the first time, but I do see that there's a little bit of a pull in the sense that at that age you are still responsible for buying your first home and starting to set up your retirement and starting to get ready for college and all these things. And so in order to do that, it pulls you away from being with your children as much as you want to be with your children. But I don't know that it's better to wait till you're established and then say, okay, everything's kind of set up. Now I'm going to have kids. Because I just don't think it in your late 30s and early 40s that you have the energy, or even just in terms of
There's a trade-off.
And I don't know, I see it all the time at the gym and stuff with younger families where the age difference between the parents and the kids is closer. I think it's better.
Right.
And I think that sometimes there's too much of a gulf between the parents and the
Well,
kids.
and then again, by doing that, when the grandkids do start to come, which I've said to Kisa, she doesn't want to hear it, but her kids are getting to an age now that you guys realistically could have a grandchild at some point in the near future.
we might actually have grandchildren right now we don't know about.
Well,
Oh, stop.
It's possible.
Anyway.
it's very possible.
But by being a young grandparent, we have been so blessed to be able to enjoy them. I could get up on a table and do a little jig, whatever. I feel like, I can do these physical things with my grandkids.
Right.
Say if,
Like have a diving contest.
oh yeah, that dive contest, that was not nice.
Yeah, well, that's
But
You should
anyway.
explain to the audience that is also what happened to your face. It's
See,
genetic.
The fruit doesn't fall far from the tree. So I was in Texas, had my 4 Davison grandkids with us in Texas. We had a great big deep pool. I'm thinking I'm safe. That diving board really had some bounce.
you gotta jump off it straight, not at a 45-degree angle.
Whatever. The kids, I was judging their dives because this family is competitive. Grandma, judge us, give us our scores. Well, I'm giving them scores, and they're thinking those scores aren't high enough for us Davisons. So I said, wait. Grandma will show you how it's done. I march over to the diving board, and I give it everything I've got. I jump high, and I come down, and I do the dive, but I think I may have gone off to the side.
Yeah.
I hit the side with my nose, and it was like I was dazed. Well, Travis, Sunday, we're out having a great old time. Well, Keith and Trav decide, hey, let's have a dive contest. He dives. It's a little shallower than he remembers.
The lake was down.
Yeah. It was.
He comes up with blood coming down his face. I'm like, oh my God, what happened?
Hit the
Dive
bottom.
contest.
Yeah.
Or there was a
Dive
rock that was
A
sticking
rock
up higher
that
than the rest.
sliced him. So, yeah. But anyway, he didn't get a good score.
No.
No.
I think I won that contest.
You did.
I'm basically the best diver.
Yeah.
And my face is clear of scars and blood.
Still, yeah. So, yeah, we're a little bit competitive, but hey.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong
What?
with that.
I kind of want to get to the questions before you have to leave.
Okay. Well, we could get into the questions. I still have 20 minutes.
I know. It means that you might have to have your parents on again because I feel like there's a lot more stories.
That ain't gonna happen.
Okay.
Oh, shoot.
I'll give you a second to think about it. If you had to pick a theme song for your life as a parent,
Oh boy.
a song.
Boy.
I love that everybody acts like this is the first time they ever heard this. You
No,
guys-
but the problem is that with me, every period of my life, the music means a lot. I love music, but the 60s were a lot different than the 70s and then the 80s and the 90s. So, the theme song changed.
What was that Beatles song? I was thinking of that Beatles song at Hard
Helter
Day
Skelter?
Night. No. No. That would have been your theme song.
No, I had different theme songs, but that was good.
Although I did like Motown. Wish I could think of something with Motown.
Respect. R-S-P-E-C-T.
Ooh, that would be good.
Yep. Teaches you how to spell.
And that's why I could never sing that song.
Well, you have to come up with a theme song for your life as a parent.
you can just pick one.
There's Yeah, I don't know. Probably I was a big Dylan fan and John Prine fan, and I migrated towards singer-songwriters, probably something like Forever. He wrote a song for Dylan wrote a song for his first child, I think, and it was a heart-gripping one.
Oh, you're gonna go
Forever Young.
Forever Young.
Yeah, it was a pretty good song. And then later on in years, it was a Christian song called Imagine. You know, where you meet your maker and what are you going to do? Can you imagine being in the presence of somebody who made you and created all this? And if you believe that, then that's a pretty awe-inspiring thought. So what are you going to do? You're going to dance? You're going to be quiet? You're going to do whatever? I thought that was provoking. But and I don't know.
Gosh, and you know what? I'm so shallow.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T.
I'm thinking Pharrell, happy. I'm just thinking, yeah, I'll just do that. Because you know what?
No, you're
Being
happy.
a parent and a grandparent, 90% of the time, I am happy.
Well, it is so
My-
much joy. So much joy.
Really, truly. I enjoy my family. I do. I really enjoy
That's
my
evident.
family. And I enjoy my grandkids immensely because they're so perfect.
Not all of them.
Wait till your grandpa gets home.
No. When I said I was a much better grandparent, we role reversed.
Yeah,
We did.
that's true.
He doesn't have no in his vocabulary.
For the grandkids?
For the
Oh, I
grandkids.
know
Only,
that.
only in safety matters. That's it.
I,
Yeah.
on the other hand,
Yeah.
am more balanced even in how I am with them because I do hold them
You're a lot
accountable.
meaner now.
Yeah.
I'm not mean. I'm not mean. I hold them accountable for bad behaviors.
Dirty feet and wet swimsuits.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, yeah, I hate that.
Or being slow or not knowing how to play cards.
That's right.
They get yelled at for that.
That's what makes
You're not a
that's-
grandchild.
I don't get yelled at for that anymore. I used to.
She's gotten really good. She's my partner.
At Pinochle. Yeah, how'd you guys do this past weekend?
Shut
We
up.
almost won.
Yeah.
You almost won. I should get up on the table and dance and show you what it looks like to be a winner.
Rematch.
Oh,
We
well.
won last time, remember?
Yeah, we did.
We did. And
You
he
know-
was not happy.
You know what matters? The last thing you did.
Okay.
Well, we almost won. And we didn't cheat like Nana did, down to her 2 cards. Remember that?
Oh, and their table talk
I know.
is
They're
just,
the worst table talkers.
It's
Okay, next question.
Thank you.
Next question is, high point.
No, we start with the low point. You don't want to
I
end
like,
on the high
I like
point.
Start. Okay. All right, fine. So low point.
Oh.
A time in parenting when you just really wanted a mulligan. I want to do that all over again.
Biggest mistake you made as a parent, or the day that you thought to yourself,
Someone
I
take
should
these
not,
children
I
away.
shouldn't be a parent.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was
You
more
go
than
f-
one.
You go first, Deb.
You're going to make me go first.
Yeah. We don't want to duplicate answers, so.
Well, Keith and I have talked about this before. And it's still a very, very hard place in my heart. Probably when our oldest daughter got pregnant, and she knew it, we knew it. She wasn't ready to be a parent, a mother, and yet circumstances were that she couldn't even place the baby up for adoption because of the biological father would have then gotten custody, and that would have been even worse. And so here we are raising another child.
Yeah, it was a blessing, though.
It did turn out to be a blessing, but at the time,
But let me rephrase the question.
what
What in your
What
life
was-
as a parent? When did you? That sounds like the hardest thing that you experienced as a
Okay.
parent.
Okay, so what
That's
was my
easy,
lowest?
Easy to
where I
identify
thought-
that.
Where
Lot
I thought
easier.
I failed.
Like, was it breaking that hairbrush on my head on that road trip, or
Was it on your head?
yeah?
Well, I was driving.
That explains a lot, though, Kisa.
But those are the types of things I'm looking. Not your
She doesn't
lowest
say no.
moment
Yeah.
where you felt the most pain from as a parent, but when your role as the parent was to parent,
Right.
what day, what time did you think to yourself, man, I blew it right there. I should have handled that differently.
Yeah.
There's there's a fine line between the lowest point and blaming yourself, and that probably constitutes the answer for me, because I don't have the memory to be able to remember all the stupid ass things I did and what I would change, but I do have when catastrophic events happen, they impregnate themselves into your mind to where you either say that was somebody else's fault or you assume the guilt yourself. And with me, one of my kids got to such a low point in their life that they contemplated suicide and took small steps in that direction. And when that became evident, it was like somebody ripping your heart out of your chest. And then the first thing that comes rushing in to fill the void is, what did I do? Why it's my fault? What could I change? And then reality sets in, and then you say, well, it's not all my fault, and you all that, but still you tend to, I don't know if everyone else is the same, but I tend to inflict pain on myself and say, you idiot, if you were a better dad, this would have never happened. And you try to be a better dad, but most of the time it's not real successful. It lasts for a little while, but anyway, that's the low point that I can remember, because I can't remember anything else.
You can't.
We should have had you guys back on when you were 20 years younger.
Well, that's it.
I know.
It wouldn't have helped. I've always.
And mine again would be, I wished I had spent more time, really time, with them, with you guys.
What would you have done during that time that you feel like you missed out on?
Call them losers.
Right.
Oh, just kidding.
It would have been good quality time. No, I would have spent time. I mean, I would have gone swimming with them. I would have set other things aside. Hey, that stuff can wait. I would have done more of that. Barbados was a great trip, and I think we spent time together, and it was awesome.
That was my favorite vacation ever.
Because you can't get that back. I can't go back and go, gosh, I wish I had done more of that.
Yeah.
I wish I'd done more of that.
That's it.
Yeah.
See, now that's why you start with the low points, because now we don't have to end on the low points.
Well, we end on the Golden Nugget.
Right.
What the heck's a Golden Nugget?
So the opposite of that would be, at what point in parenting did you have a moment where you felt like you handled a particular situation with a lot of success, or a high point where you're like, man, I'm pretty good at this parenting thing. Like, I think I
should write a book.
Yeah, I should write a book on parenting because I'm so good at it.
Host a podcast.
Well, I had talked to Keith about one instance, but I'm not even going to go there because there's so many, but just kidding. But I remember when we were moving into Riverbend, I name our houses because we moved a lot. So we started naming them: Lacamas, Riverbend, Columbia Heights. We named them all. So Riverbend, and it had been years, and I don't even remember how old Chandler was. And Autumn and she came over to help me unpack, and out of the blue, she said to me, "Mom, I need to tell you thank you. I need to tell you thank you for you and Dad taking Chandler for those years, because I don't know where he'd be today had you guys not intervened."
He would have been with me and Kisa.
Yeah. He would have been in, but the fact of the matter is, we were the blessed ones.
Yeah.
But she
for her
recognized.
to just,
the
because
effort.
I didn't need that. I really didn't need that from her. We were done with any, and so that was kind of cool. That day was cool. I still remember it. So that was probably one of my high points. You got one?
Well, I've never felt completely victorious in my parenting skills, but it was my high points, and we've already discussed it. Probably one of my high points is when I became best man.
That's a good one. I wasn't the maid of honor.
You were also sick that weekend, so maybe that was a little divine intervention.
But I still came to your wedding.
She was
did.
heart sick, I think. If I remember, there were moments she wouldn't leave the hotel room, and she kept calling me, and she's like, how come Kisa didn't pick me to be the maid of honor?
She still says that to me every weekend. And it's a tough thing.
No, it's been over the 20-some years that we have grown.
I talk to you every day.
Every day.
Sometimes 3 times a day.
Every day. And I love it. So,
I do too.
yeah.
Golden Nugget. So this is your opportunity to give your Golden Nugget one piece of advice to new parents, current parents, or maybe even the parent you were. If you could go back
that's
in
easy.
time and say,
That's easy.
make sure you do this,
What's
or
your
make sure
golden
you
nugget?
don't
We've already
do this.
discussed it. It's time. It's all about the time you spend.
Right.
It doesn't have anything to do with army men in the closet.
Or
it
how
has-
big the pack is that you bought them.
Yeah, well.
Oh, I didn't know where that comment was going to go.
Thank God. Oh, my Lord. That's edit time. But anyway, the fact of the matter is that it's all about time. The more time you spend, the more rewards you get at the end of the journey. And it's just quality time. You can't say enough about that. That takes the place of everything. Everything. Mm-hmm. And so that would be my
Right.
golden nugget. Did I steal yours?
And that we can't do it on our own.
Oh,
You have
no.
to speak into
You
the
have to
microphone.
speak.
We can't do it on our own.
Say more about that.
Well, you know what? I need the Lord in my life every single day. I can't do one thing of any value, of anything that's going to be worthwhile without Him in it. And I've been fortunate enough to know Him most of my life, and I've learned that I need God's help in everything. I mean, through those difficult times especially, through those sad times, absolutely. And in those times of joy, you know what? I want to give Him the praise. Thank you, God, for my 12 healthy grandchildren and how miraculous our Ted has been.
Mm-hmm.
We have seen God work in Teddy's life. Not gonna cry.
Too late.
Okay.
Now you cried and lied.
See, and that's why I need the Lord. But no, I have seen God's hand on him since he was 6 months old.
Mm-hmm.
And he is miraculous. He is awesome. And his prognosis was not great. And it's been tough.
To say the least.
Because I remember thinking to myself, when we first got the diagnosis at 6 months, I remember sobbing and saying, God, I'm breaking for my grandson, but for my son and my daughter-in-law. So, you know, when something happens to our grandkid, it affects our children.
Mm-hmm.
And so consequently, it really affects us, right?
Totally. That's our life, though. It's
So, yeah.
That's why we're here.
That's my
Golden Nugget.
golden nugget. So, yeah.
Well,
Any parting thoughts, Keith?
No.
can't believe you made us do this.
Well, maybe there's going to be a part 2.
Well,
Part 2.
I don't know about
If Mom
that.
has anything to say about it,
Yeah,
there will
well.
be.
I just love life. It's fun.
It is fun.
You know what I'm going to hear about now until the podcast comes out? When's that podcast come out? When's our podcast come out?
I'm sorry.
And when's the podcast
I really-
come out?
That's pretty predictable, though. You know that.
Can you give me a calendar I can crisscross off like the Advent?
We'll work on that, honey. I'll work on that for you.
Well, thank you guys for
Thank you for
being
having
here.
us.
And thanks for all the love that you've given, not just us, but especially our kids over all those years.
We're the
Easy
blessed ones.
peasy.
And thank you for always getting the stains out of my family's white shirts
You're so welcome.
and white pillowcases.
That's what I live for.
No.
Oh, goodness.
Okay.
Okay.
That's it.
Thanks.
All right.
Right.
Thanks for joining us today. If you want more information about the Growing Gorillas Martial Arts Program for kids, please visit growinggorillas.com.
And if you're interested in finding an SBG near you in the state of Montana, please visit us at sbgmontana.com.
See you soon.
Stay cold, Pony Boy.
Peace out, Girl Scout.
Catch you on the flip-flop.
Catch you on the flipper, dipper.
After a while, crocodile.
I don't know anymore.
See you later, alligator.